Like my backdrop?
Very good.
Yeah. I thought you might.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Like that backdrop, Han? Got to position this so everyone can be seen. All right, just waiting for Sam. All right, here we are. Welcome. Could you open in your Merchant of Venice books to Act 3? And I'm just going to highlight a couple of things that you read on your own on Wednesday. So Act 3, Scene 3. So this is when we are really starting to see some of the themes of justice. Oh, yeah, I am recording. Okay. Oh. The themes of justice and mercy and revenge start to come into focus. So we saw those in the beginning when Antonio and Shylock strike up this deal. We think, it's not a good idea to make a bargain with someone who's your enemy. So there's already some foreshadowing that this is not going to go well. But let's look at Act 3, Scene 3. Excuse me. So right, starting from line 1. They're at the jail to get Antonio because he has not come through with his 3,000 ducats at the appointed time. So we're at the jail and he's going to be taken to court. Shylock says, "Tell me not of mercy." So we assume that the jailer has been talking to him about, hey, can't you just forgive him? Can't you give him a little more time? Can't you whatever? And he says, don't talk to me about mercy. And then Act 3, Scene 3, line 5. So just a couple lines later, Shylock says, "I'll have my bond. Speak not against my bond." So all I want is what we agreed to. He's basically saying, all I want is justice. So he says, I want my bond. And then just a couple lines after that, line 8, he says, "Since I am a dog, like that's what you've called me, beware my fangs." So we see in just those 8 lines, we have mercy, we have justice, and we have revenge. And those are 3 main themes that run throughout the rest of the play, particularly. And in the courtroom scene of Act 4 are going to be very significant. So Act 3, Scene 4, just going to recap that really quickly to make sure we've understood what's going on there. Actually, does someone want to tell me something significant from Scene 4? Just summarizing what happened.
Portia asked Lorenzo to take over the house temporarily.
Good. Mm-hmm. What else?
Portia's gonna disguise as a man to help Antonio.
Yes, good. Portia and who else, Han?
Nerissa?
Yeah, right. So they're gonna get dressed up as men so that they can follow the action and the drama that's unfolding, because as women, they typically wouldn't be able to. And they also don't want to be seen as themselves because Portia's got a little drama cooked up here. Good. So they tell Lorenzo and Jessica that they are going to a convent to pray for Antonio and their husbands, but really they are going to Portia's cousin, who's a doctor of the law. They're going to get some male clothes from him and a letter introducing them as his representatives to the court. Okay, Great. We're going to skip scene 5 because scene 5 is supposed to be hilarious. It's supposed to be comedic. We have Lancelot, who is the clown, given his shtick, but it would take so much effort to unpack all of his jokes. And by the end of it, it'd be like, it wouldn't even be worth it. So we're just going to skip scene 5 because it doesn't forward the action of the play at all. It doesn't move it forward. Okay, so Act 4. Could I have a volunteer? If you guys are somewhere quiet, do you want to just try keeping your microphones on? Because I'd love to try reading as different characters. I understand if you're somewhere that's really noisy, but it doesn't look like it. Do I have a volunteer? Oh, sorry.
There's a washing machine in the background. I'm
Okay.
just gonna leave my mic off.
Sure, gotcha. Do I have a volunteer other than Ryan to read the synopsis for Act 4, Scene 1 on the left-hand side of the page there?
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. So just the like the little thing on the left there.
Yeah, in Court at Venice, starting there.
Yeah. All right. Just right now.
Sure.
Cool. In Court at Venice, Shylock demands that the terms of his bond be fulfilled. Portia enters as a doctor of laws with a letter of introduction from Dr. Valerio. She saves Antonio by determining that the bond allows Shylock no more than a pound of Antonio's flesh and not a drop of his blood. She also finds Shylock guilty of plotting the death of a Venetian and subject to the penalty of forfeiting his estate and suffering execution. Antonio intercedes with the Duke to reduce the penalty. A defeated Shylock agrees to the proposed terms. Bassanio offers the disguised Portia and the 3,000 ducats that he brought to give to Shylock, but Portia demands the ring that she herself gave Bassanio. When he refuses, she departs as if insulted. When Antonio asks Bassanio to give the ring, Bassanio sends Gratiano after her with it.
Thank you. Okay, so pretty important scene here. We need a Duke, an Antonio, Salerio, Shylock. Any volunteers to be the Duke?
I can be Salerio.
All right.
I'll be the Duke.
Sorry?
I'll be the Duke.
Thanks. Antonio?
Neil.
Okay, and Shylock. I can be Shylock. Han, you want to be Bassanio?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, let's start there.
All right, so enter the Duke, the Magnificos, Antonio, Bassanio, Salerio, and Gratiano with attendants. What, is Antonio here?
Ready, so to please your grace.
I am sorry for thee. Thou art come to answer a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty from any dram of mercy.
I have heard your grace hath ta'en
Taken, like taken. Mhm.
great pains to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach, I do oppose my patience to his fury, and am armed to suffer with the quietness of spirit the very tyranny and rage of his.
Go, one, and call the Jew into the court.
He is ready at the door. He comes, my lord.
Enter Shylock. Make room and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then 'tis thought thou'lt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. And where thou now exacts the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh. Thou wilt not only loose the forfeiture, but touch with humane gentleness and love. Forgive a moiety, sure, of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses, that have of late so huddled on his back. And now, okay, to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state, from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew.
I have possessed your grace of what I purpose, and by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. You'll ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. I'll not answer that, but say it is my humor. Is it answered? What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it baned? What, are you answered yet? Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others when the bagpipe sings in the nose cannot contain their urine for affection. Masters oft passion sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Now for your answer. As there is no firm reason to be rendered, why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why he a harmless necessary cat, why he a woolen bagpipe but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to offend, himself being offended, so can I give no reason, nor I will not. More than a lodged hate and a certain loathing I bear Antonio, that I follow thus a losing suit against him. Are you answered?
This is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty.
I am not bound to please thee with my answers.
Do all men kill the things they do not love?
Hates any man the thing he would not kill?
Every offense is not a hate at first.
What, wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice? Antonio?
Oop, that was muted. To Bassanio, I pray you, think you question with the Jew. You may as well go stand upon the bench and bid the main flood bait his usual height. You may as well use question with the wolf, why he hath made the ewe bleat for the lamb. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wag their high tops and to make no noise when they are fretting with the gusts of heaven. You may as well do anything most hard and seek to soften that than which what's harder, his Jewish heart. Therefore, I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no farther means, but with all brief and plain conveniency, let me have judgment in the Jew his will.
For thy 3,000 ducats, here is 6.
If every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them. I would have my bond.
How shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none?
What judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? You have among you many a purchased slave, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish parts because you bought them. Shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heirs? Why sweat they under burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let their palates be seasoned with such viands. You will answer, the slaves are ours. So do I answer you. The pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. 'Tis mine, and I will have it. If you deny me, fie upon your law. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it?
Upon my power I may dismiss this court, unless Valerio, a learned doctor, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today.
My lord, here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor. Now,
New come from Padua?
new come from Padua.
Bring us the letters. Call the messenger.
Good cheer, Antonio. What man courage yet? The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones, and all, ere thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood.
I am a tainted wether of the flock. Meetest for death. The weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground, and so let me. You cannot be better employed, Bassanio, than to live and still write mine epitaph.
Epitaph. Enter Nerissa disguised as a lawyer's clerk.
Came
Someone want to
you-
someone want to be Nerissa as well?
I'll be Nerissa. Unless Brian wants to be.
I can be.
Sounds
Sure.
good.
We will need a Portia if someone wants to also be a Portia.
I can be Portia because Antonio doesn't talk for a while.
Sure. Thanks.
Came you from Padua, from Valerio?
From both, my lord, Valerio greets your grace.
Why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly?
To cut the forfeiture from that bank route there. Oh, we don't have a Gratiano. Not on thy soul, but on thy soul, harsh Jew, thou makest thy knife keen, but no metal can, no, not the hangman's axe, bear half the keenness of thy sharp envy. Can no prayers pierce thee? No.
I can be Gratiano. Celerio doesn't have many lines.
What?
I can do Gratiano. Celerio doesn't have many lines. If you
Yeah,
want.
that'd be great, sure.
Okay. O thou damned inexorable dog, and for thy life let justice be accused. Thou almost makest me waver in my faith to hold opinion with pathetic. That souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men. Thy cursed spirit governed a wolf who hanged for human slaughter. Even from the gallows did his fell soul flee. And whilst thou layest in the unshallowed dam, infused itself in thee, for thy desires are wolfish, bloody, starved, and ravenous.
Till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond, thou but offendest thy lungs to speak so loud. Repair thy wit, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law.
This letter from Valerio doth commend a young and learned doctor to our court. Where is he?
He attendeth here hard by to know your answer, whether you'll admit him.
With all my heart. Some 3 or 4 of you, go give him courteous conduct to this place. It's still me, yeah. Meantime, the court shall hear Valerio's letter. Should I read Valerio's letter?
You got it.
All right. He reads, Your grace shall understand that at the receipt of your letter, I am very sick, but in the instant that your messenger came in loving visitation was with me a young doctor of Rome. His name is Balthazar. Okay. I acquainted him with the cause and controversy between the Jew and Antonio the merchant. We turned over many books together. He is furnished with my opinion, which, bettered with his own learning, the greatness whereof I cannot enough commend, comes with him at my importunity, to fill up your grace's request in my stead. I beseech you, let his lack of years be no impediment to let him lack a reverend estimation. For I never knew so young a body with so old a head. I leave him to your gracious acceptance, whose trial shall be better publish his commendation. You hear the learned Valerio, what he writes.
So enter Portia for Balthazar. She is Balthazar, disguised as a doctor of laws with attendants.
And here I take it is the doctor come. Give me your hand. Come you from old Valerio?
I did, my lord.
You are welcome. Take your place. Are you acquainted with the difference that holds this present question in the court?
I am informed thoroughly of the cause. Which is the merchant here, and which is the Jew?
Antonio and old Shylock both stand forth.
Is your name Shylock?
Shylock is my
wait.
name.
Sorry.
Of a strange nature is the suit you follow, yet in such rule that the Venetian law cannot
Impugn.
Sorry?
Impugn.
Impugn. Cannot impugn you as you do proceed. You stand within his danger, do you not? Aye, so he says. Do you confess the bond? I do. Then the Jew must be merciful.
On what compulsion must I? Tell me that.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives, and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likes God's when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I have spoken thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which, if thou follow, this strict court of Venice must needs give sentence against the merchant there.
My deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty and forfeit of my bond.
Is he not able to discharge the money?
Who is Bassanio?
Yes, here, I tender it for him in the court. Yea, twice the sum. If that will not suffice, I will be bound to pay it 10 times over. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice bears down truth. And I beseech you, rest once the law to your authority. To do a great right, do a little wrong, and curb this cruel devil.
So Portia?
It must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. 'Twill be recorded for a precedent, and many an error by the same example will rush into the state. It cannot be.
A Daniel come to judgment. Yea, a Daniel, O wise young judge, how I do honor thee.
I pray you let me look upon the bond.
Here, 'tis most reverend doctor, here it is. Hand
Shylock,
Portia paper.
Shylock, there's thrice the money offered thee.
An oath, an oath. I have an oath in heaven. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice.
Why, this bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off, nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful, take thrice thy money, bid me tear the bond.
When it is paid according to the tenor, it doth appear you are a worthy judge. You know the law, your exposition hath been most sound. I charge you by the law, whereof you are a well-deserving pillar. Proceed to judgment. By my soul, I swear there is no power in the tongue of man to alter me. I stay here on my bond.
Most heartily do I beseech the court to give the judgment. Why then, thus it is, you must prepare your bosom for his knife.
O noble judge, O excellent young man.
For the intent and purpose of the law hath full relation to the penalty, which here appeareth due on the bond.
'Tis very true, O wise and upright judge. How much more elder art thou than thy looks?
Therefore lay bare your bosom.
Aye, his breast. So says the bond, doth it not, noble judge? Nearest his heart, those are the very words.
It is so. Are there balance here to weigh the flesh?
I have them ready.
Have by some surgeon, Shylock, on your charge, to stop his wounds, lest he do bleed to death.
Is it so nominated in the bond?
It is not so expressed, but what of that? 'Twere good you to do so much for charity.
I cannot find it. 'Tis not in the bond.
You, merchant, have you anything to say? But little, I am armed and well prepared. Give me your hand, Bassanio. Fare you well. Grieve not that I have fallen to this for you, for herein fortune shows herself more kind than is her custom. It is still her use to let the wretched man outlive his wealth, to view with hollow eye and wrinkled brow an age of poverty from which the lingering penance of such misery doth she cut me off. Commend me to your honorable wife. Tell her the process of Antonio's end. Say how I loved you. Speak me fair in death. And when the tale is told, bid her be judge whether Bassanio had not once a love. Repent, but you that shall lose your friend. And if he repents not that he pays your debt, for the Jew do cut but deep enough, I'll pay it instantly with all my heart.
Antonio, I am married to a wife, which is as dear to me as life itself. But life itself, my wife, and all the world are not with me esteemed above thy life. I would lose all, I sacrifice them all, here to this devil to deliver you.
Your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were here, if she were by to hear you make the offer.
Graciano? Okay, I can read. I have a wife who I protest I love. I would she were in heaven so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. Who is Nerissa? Is that
That's
you?
me. Tis well you offer it behind her back. The wish would make else an unquiet house.
These be the Christian husbands. I have a daughter. Would any of the stock of Barabbas had been her husband rather than a Christian? We trifle time, I pray thee, pursue sentence.
A pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine. The court awaits it, and the law doth give it.
Most rightful judge.
And you must cut off this flesh, and you must cut this flesh from off his breast, if the law allows it and the court awards it.
Most learned judge, a sentence. Come, prepare.
Tarry a little, there is something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. Take then thy bond, take thou any pound of flesh, but in the cutting of it, if thou doth shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the laws of Venice confiscate into the state of Venice.
Oh, upright judge, marked you. Oh, learned judge. Is that the law?
Thyself shalt see the act, for as thou urgest justice, be assured, thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest.
Oh, learned judge, marked you. Oh, learned judge. I take this offer then, pay the bond thrice and let the Christian go. Bassanio?
Soft. The Jew shall have haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty.
Where are you? Bassanio is reading Here is the Money.
Oh,
And then Portia reads Soft. We know where we are. We're at the top of 165. We're at line 334. So Bassanio says, here is the money. And Portia says, hit it, Portia.
Soft, the Jew shall have all justice. Soft, no haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty.
Oh, Jew, an upright judge, a learned judge.
Therefore, prepare thee to cut off the flesh. Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less nor more, but just a pound of flesh. If thou takest more or less than just a pound, be it but so much as makes it light or heavy in the substance, or the division of the 20th part. For if one poor scruple, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair thou diest, and all thy goods are confiscate.
A second Daniel, a Daniel Jew. Now, infidel.
a second Daniel.
Oh, are you Graciano, Sam?
I think you're Bassanio. Yeah,
I'm Bassanio?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
you read Graciano then.
Now, infidel, I have you on the hip.
Why doth the Jew pause? Take thy forfeiture.
Give me my principal and let me go. I
I
have,
have it ready. Oh,
You just said I was Bassanio, right?
I know. Yes.
Okay.
Attaboy.
I'm trade confused. Okay, I have it ready for you. Here it is.
Hath refused it in open court. He shall have merely justice in his bond.
Sam.
A second Daniel. I thank thee, Jew, for teaching me that word.
Well, I not have barely my principal?
Thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture to be so taken at thy peril, Jew.
Why then the devil give him good of it. I'll stay no longer question.
The law hath yet another hold on you. Or tarry, Jew. The law hath another hold on you. It is enacted in the laws of Venice that if it be proven against an alien that by direct or indirect attempts to seek the life of any citizen, the party against the which he doth contrive, shall seize one half of his goods, the other half comes to the privy coffer of the state, and the offender's life lies in the mercy of the Duke only against all other voice. In which predicament I say thou standest, for it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly and directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant, and thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. Down therefore and beg the mercy of the Duke.
We're going to pause there in our reading for today because there are a couple of things I want to go over before our time is up. Great job, guys. I thought you did really well with that. I know it was a bit glitchy at times, but you did great. So if we go back to the beginning of Act 4, Scene 1, and we're looking for those themes of justice and mercy, can you find any so let's start just at Act 4, Scene 1, and about line 3. The judge says, "Thou art come to answer a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty of any dram of mercy." So we do see the word mercy mentioned there. But how does the judge, so the Duke is the judge of this case, how do we see him treating Shylock? Isn't a judge supposed to be impartial? Does he sound impartial?
No.
Right. So that's a little question mark right from the beginning is, can Shylock be expected a fair trial when he is called an inhuman wretch? So we see mercy, and the Duke says he is void. He has no ounce of mercy in him. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to on that page is line 15. The Duke calls him the Jew. So again, we see it's very pejorative. Jews as second-class citizens. He's referred to as the Jew, not even by his name, which is an act of discrimination really in and of itself. Okay, so flipping over to about line 85 to 102. Anyone see mercy or justice, either the words or the essence of those things here?
Line 89. How shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none?
Great. Right, so the Jew says, how will you ever expect to receive mercy if you've not given any? And Shylock responds with, I've done no wrong, I don't need mercy. Above that, Shylock says, if every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts and every part a ducat, I would not draw them, I would have my bond. what theme is represented by that. Again, you can just type into the chat, or you can take your mic off and shout it out. What is represented there of our themes of justice, mercy, or revenge?
Revenge.
Shylock doesn't care about money. He just wants revenge.
Yeah, right. So largely revenge there, because he's saying if you multiplied this by whatever, big sums here, if you, I don't want the money. And he's saying, I want my bond, so I just want justice. But we know that what is beyond that is really revenge. He wants revenge. He's just using the cloak of, I just want to fulfill my bond. I just want the contract as written, is really a clever ploy of him getting revenge. Great. Okay, and then again, line 130, 131, Graciano says, be thou damned inexorable dog, and for thy life let justice be accused. So we see that idea of justice coming up there, and Graciano is getting very upset, very passionate about that. Shylock in line 141 to 145 says, till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond, thou but offendest thy lungs to speak so loud. Repair thy wit, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law. So he's saying, I just want justice. Calm yourself, big guy. I just want justice. I just want my contract fulfilled. Okay, so then we have Portia enter as Balthazar. She suggests in line 186 that Shylock needs to be merciful. And he says, why do I need to? And then we come to Portia's very famous speech on mercy. And I'm just gonna screen share for a sec, because in Edsby, I have what I would like you to do for the remainder of this block, which is, I want you to spend some time reading and rereading this famous speech. So focus on line 190 to 208 that ends with the deeds of mercy. Those couple sentences on the end aren't as significant to the speech in general. They're more specific directions for the scene. I want you to translate it into more understandable, accessible English without losing the key points that she makes. And I want you to submit that to Edsby under Portia's speech, which I have up already. And make sure if you share a Google Doc that you've allowed me access to that, please. So you'll be marked out of 15 on this, 12 for content, clarity, and retaining the essential points of the original, and 3 for spelling, grammar, style. So that should not take you long, might take you 25 minutes or so if you could work on that, and that's your only homework for this chunk. And then I will post something for Wednesday's class, what I would like you to go ahead in your reading and your answering questions. So for sure Wednesday, you will need to answer questions on this scene. So if you'd rather do that while it's fresh, that's fine. I would like you to submit this by Wednesday. Okay, so you have the rest of today. And if you need any time tomorrow to work on that, you're welcome to, and submit this in Edsby Wednesday, please, making sure I have access to it. I am going to get cut off here in less than a minute. So anyone have a quick question about that? Or you can email me. I will stay online for the remainder of the period. Okay, fun times today, guys. Great job. Good luck with translating Portia's speech, and I will see you tomorrow in Bible, I think. Okay, have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.